My father's been a plumber since 1965 in the city of Toronto. Although plumbing itself is boring and quite repetitive, I found out soon by talking to my dad that his job is actually very interesting in the sense that his job allows him to peer into people's personal lives by working residentially. And I've convinced him to share some of his more unique stories.
I'm laying pipe all night long, laying pipe. I'm working so hard. I'm laying pipe all night long, laying pipe to satisfy that woman.
I got a call on my two-way radio in the truck to go to Roncesvalles. I wasn't really too happy about it. Actually, I was pissed. But I went anyways because I was only a year on the job and I wanted to please my employer. So, off to Roncesvalles I went, got into this apartment complex, walked up to this door. I can't remember what floor it was or anything, but this great big Ukrainian lady answered the door and I said, "Ted the plumber." She said, "Oh yes, I want you to come and fix my problem. I got a plugged toilet." And I said, "Oh, okay, not a problem." Anyway, she led me into her apartment, into her bathroom, lifted the lid, and I have never seen such a shit in all my life. It had to be 4 inches in diameter and 10 inches long. I looked at this and I just could not believe it. I said, "Hey, this is impossible." Anyways, I asked the lady, I said, "Is this normal? Is this normal for you?" And she said, "Oh yeah, oh," in her accent. So I said, "Okay, well what you got to do when you have a big one like that," I said, "you got to break it up. Get a coat hanger, a broomstick, or whatever, and break it up. Because a 4-inch shit ain't going through a 2-inch hole." She's embarrassed and everything, and I was embarrassed as well. So I went out to my truck and I got this piece of 1/2-inch copper pipe and I stirred it up and whatever and broke it up, flushed it, ran my auger through the bowl to make sure everything was fine, flushed it 4 or 5 times with and without paper, no problem, flushed beautiful. Got it aside my work order and off I went. I was going to get to the cottage. So off I went, long weekend traffic, all the way from Roncesvalles Avenue all the way up to Scarborough. Halfway there I get a call.
To keep them nourished, Pizzaville has 2 large 3-topping pizzas plus 6 cans of Pepsi for just
Ted,
$23.99.
I thought you said you cleared that toilet at Roncesvalles. And I said I did.
Call Pizzaville at 736.
And he says, "Well, the lady just called and she said that
Not 736.
it's plugged again."
36.
Whoa, was I ever pissed. I said, "Okay, what do you want me to do?" He says, "You got to go back." And I said, "Well, I've got plans." He says, "These plans are more important." So off I went. Went over there, sure as hell. There was another shit. 4 inches in diameter, 10 inches long. And I told the lady, I said, "Look," I said, "you're going to have to get a special toilet if you keep doing this." And I said, "You got to break it up with a coat hanger or whatever." So off I did. I went and broke it up again, left again and everything else. And I said, "Look, lady," I said, "you know, like, if you call me again," I said, I'm not coming." So off I go. About 15 minutes later, I got a phone call or a call on my radio from my boss, and he says, "I understand you were very rude to that lady." And I said, "Rude? I don't believe so." I said, "All I did was tell her the truth." And I said, a 4-inch shit ain't going through a 2-inch hole. My employer laughed like heck, and it was a story of the shop for weeks on end.
All night long, laying pipe to satisfy that woman.
You gotta come over and clear up my plug toilet, she says. But whatever you find, you can't tell anybody. Obviously, that's not the case because I'm telling you folks. So off I went. Went up there. Sure as heck, her toilet was plugged. So I get my auger out, which is a big wire with a screw on it. And in the bowl you go and you turn it a little bit and hopefully you dislodge whatever's in there. So I end up going, and usually you can feel if you catch something. Oh yeah, I caught something. So okay, so I yank it out, and here was a partial English cucumber covered in a condom. Obviously, she was pleasuring herself and didn't want anybody to know. And I have not told that story, but 20 times.
All night long, laying pipe to satisfy that woman.
I remember one time as well getting a service call to go down to Kensington Market area, down near the college, George Brown College. That's what it was, and across from the Victory Burlesque, Kensington and Nassau Street. That's what it was. Anyways, it was a plugged drain. So Tom Stewart, the old crazy Irishman, and I, off we went. So it ended up being a rooming house type residence. So we found out that the problem was everybody's toilet was plugged, everybody's sink was plugged. So obviously it was a main stack blockage. So we went down to the basement and we removed the clean out cover on the stack and started picking away at it. And by the time we finished that job, we took out a 5-gallon pail full of condoms. Actually, it was a bawdy house. A house of ill repute, as they say. So that's another story.
My father plans to retire in a few years. His stories will only repeat themselves. But not all hope is lost for a continuation, since my brother has just become a licensed plumber for the city of Toronto.
I'm laying pipe all night long, laying pipe. I'm working so hard. I'm laying pipe all night long, laying pipe to satisfy that